of the famous Oriental Rabbonim of yesteryear. And here on Lamed Sivan, the 30th of Sivan, just before Rosh Chodesh Tammuz, is the yahrzeit, the Hilula of a really great Moroccan-born Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak Shloush Z'tl Libracha. Very part of the great rabbis of Morocco. We've actually spoken about a few of the great Rabbonim in his family, and over here on Lamed Sivan, it's his Hilula. He was a Bedin. He was head of the Chevra Kadishah. He had a very prominent position among the rabbinic council in Jerusalem itself. He was a rabbi also in the famous Yeshivat Pורת Yosef, and was part of the Moatzot HaRabbanot Hareshit also. But many great positions he has. He was actually born in Marrakesh. We've spoken about the great rabbis from Morocco, especially from Marrakesh, produced some of the greatest rabbis over there. Came from great heritage. His father was Rabbi David Shloush, who actually happened to be a Rosh Yeshiva of a great yeshiva in Marrakesh, respectively, and his mother was Rabbinit Sultana, also. Very much can be related about them. Okay, so unfortunately at a young age, I believe his father, Rabbi David Shloush, had passed away, and shortly afterwards, I think he moved with his mother and his sister. They came to Jerusalem over there, and in Yerushalayim, he actually learned in yeshiva. They called the Tovei Yeshiva over there, which was very prominent in yeshiva. I think the Rosh Yeshiva there was Rabbi Yosef Chaim HaKohen, who was actually the author of a great different books, including the Minchat Kohen and the Kalkal Yosef also, if I'm not mistaken. Very prominent place over there. I think at the same time he had to work part-time to help just cover his Torah education and network at a young age with some jobs, but he was learning pretty much the whole time. And I think only at the age of 22 years of age, he helped start up a Talmud Torah inside the vicinity he was in. I think this was under the guidance of Rabbi Nachman Betito, who was actually Rishon LeZion in Jerusalem, and with various other great rabbis also. I believe at the time of the First World War, we've spoken about it in other videos, that there was a lot of troubleships. It was very difficult in Jerusalem. It was difficult all over the world, naturally. I think they left. He actually, at that stage in time, he, if I'm not mistaken, we spoke actually about it yesterday, he had to leave Israel at that point in time, I think due to different reasons connected to the war, but he returned after the war, shortly afterwards, to Jerusalem, and he had to actually travel to North Africa to actually help with in regards to the entire community in Jerusalem at the moment, because he had a very prominent rabbinic position. So he was able to collect money from the Northern African countries, because at that point in time, many of the great North African countries like Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, had great Torah Jewish communities over there. So they very much helped with assisting financially, and the great rabbi actually was able to visit there and to teach, to educate, and also to help raise funds. And later on, he would return to Jerusalem, and while he was actually working, while he was obviously teaching and very much learning Torah, and was very prominent in that, I think he was trading in Torah books also with another great rabbi we've spoken about before, Rabbi Amram Aburbia, who was a very great rabbi who we spoke about before, who would later on become the chief rabbi, a Sephardic chief rabbi in Petach Tikva. And he was also a very great judge also, but they had he was working also within regards to that. And I believe in the year 1929, he was appointed a member of the Rabbinic Council for the people from the Western community, from the countries like Algeria, Tunisia, very prominent position. And he was appointed a judge, I think in 1930, in the court, the Sephardic court, if I am not mistaken, among other great rabbis, including Rabbi Shmuel Ezran, who we haven't actually spoke about yet, I think dedicated vid yet, who was an Av Bet Din also, and was the head of this yeshiva, Tovi Yeshuva, a very great yeshiva that we've spoken about also. And he was working with Rabbi Shalom Azulay also. And Rabbi Amram Abu Rabia, who we just spoke about before, he was also working parts of the Bet Din with him. He was very involved in life within regards to the community Rabbi Shloush was, and dedicated himself. He had a top position in the Chevra Kadishah over there also, another very major job over there, especially for the Jewish community over there, a very prominent position also. He taught in the famous Pורת Yosef Yeshiva, which was based in the Old City at the time, and I believe at the time the rabbis over there included Rabbi Ezra Atiyah, who was a very great rabbi who we've spoken about before, and Rabbi Nissim Rabbi Nissim Ben Yamin Mordechai Elisha, who was also founded neighborhoods in Jerusalem and was a president of the Pורת Yeshiva also, and was also had a very huge position in the Sephardic community in Jerusalem. So he was teaching especially while those great rabbis were in charge. He had great students, including Chacham Ovadia Yosef, one of the most famous rabbis in Israeli history without that. Also Rabbi Tzion Levi, which is actually very interesting enough, who was a chief rabbi of the Panama community, I think, for many, many years. And also Rabbi David Shloush, who was his son also. And I believe in the year 1938, he moved actually from the old city itself, quite close. He moved to Machane Yehuda, also in Jerusalem, not so far away. And I think later on, he served as a rabbi of the Western congregation in Jerusalem, I think in the year from the year 1957, this would have been only for a few years, because he passed away, I believe, on June the 25th in the year 1960. Naturally, that is Lamed Sivan over there. Many of the great people comment of what a great rabbi he actually was. And he was actually buried in Har HaMenuchot cemetery. And there's actually in the street in the Nachlaot neighborhood in Jerusalem is actually named after him, which is also very interesting. And he left very great, he came from very, very great heritage, but he left great descendants also. Him and his wife, Saada, Rabbanit Saada, they had, I believe, 3 children. Rabbi David Shloush was one of them, a great rabbi that we've spoken about before, I believe, who became the head rabbi of Netanya for many, many years. And Rabbi Aram Shloush also, who was the rabbi of Kfar Saba, another great rabbi that we've spoken about before. I think we spoke about him, it would have been around Hanukkah time, around that point in time. I think he had a prominent position. He was a head rabbi in Kfar Saba for many, many, many years, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was more than 60 years, if I'm not mistaken. Also, he actually just passed away only about just under 3 years ago in 2021 also. So that was another one of his great children, famous children also. What's interesting also, he had more great descendants also. We must speak about also, including his daughter, I believe, Abigail, got married to Rabbi Nissim David Azaran, who was also another great rabbi, who was a founder of Yeshiva in Yeshivat Beit Shmuel, I believe, in Jerusalem. And the famous Yaki Ha'ir Yerushalayim, I think we actually did a separate short video on that on the channel outside there, over there. I think that's based in Jerusalem. And it's actually interesting, I think, actually from his descendants include Rabbi Mordechai Eliyahu, also one of the great rabbis also, very interesting enough. And included among that was great other Rabbi Shlomo Ben Eliyahu, Rabbi Shmuel Eliyahu, Rabbi Yosef Eliyahu, and many other great people also. They came from him. A lot more can be said about the great Chacham. It's his Hilula here on Lamed Sivan over here, just before Rosh Chodesh. Here we're just coming into Rosh Chodesh Tammuz. Part of the great rabbis from Marrakesh. Please, I've covered about 275 rabbis of the biographies in these video series over here. Don't forget to share the videos, to like the videos, to subscribe to the channel over here. And wishing you very well. He lived about 69 years. He passed away, obviously, in 1960. He was born in the year 1891. I think he was born, actually, in the 17th of January in the year 1891. So I hope this was thought-provocative. Please research more on the great rabbi over here, Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak Shloush Z'tl. Wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom, because I'm recording this on Friday afternoon, just before Shabbat Parshat Rache happens to be over here in Israel, and wishing you a great day. Take care.